If you are still trying to figure out how to get your team to be accountable, you are not alone. You're tired of reminding, chasing, pulling people just to get them to do their job. You don't want to be the nag. You don't want to be the tyrant. You just want your team to take ownership like you do. I'm going to help you fix it. I'm going to cover the 4 steps to build a team that holds themselves accountable. It's simple, it's proven, it's field tested. Miss even one and you'll stay stuck chasing people forever. But nail all 4 and accountability becomes automatic. So here's the playbook. If you're new to the channel, I'm Cort Brady. I've had multiple exits and now spend my time helping founders scale smarter, faster, and with way less stress. I made my money doing exactly what it is that I'm telling you to do. If you want a team that drives results without you constantly dragging them across the finish line, you're going to love this episode. So let's jump in. Here's step number 1. You cannot hold someone accountable if they don't know why their job matters. If the only goal is to complete tasks, people will just check boxes. If the goal is to drive real outcomes, then people show up significantly differently. Here's a quick story. In my first company, we were super sales heavy. Everything centered around the total number of deals closed. That was it. So what do you think happened? We got sales, but we killed margins, and the team couldn't care less about customer loyalty because the mission was just way too small. When we shifted the purpose from close any deal at all costs to drive EBITDA, which is just a fancy way of saying profit, and it's used to calculate the value of the company, everything changed. The same sales reps started selling at higher prices. They found customers who were aligned profitably with the company. Customers stopped being just another deal. Instead of over-promising, we started under-promising and over-delivering so that we could retain clients. All because our sales reps understood the bigger purpose of what was behind their work. So here's the gut question that you need to ask yourself. Why does this role actually exist? Tasks don't create ownership, missions do. All right, step 2 is clear expectations. You can't expect your people to win when they don't know what winning actually looks like. Way too many of us as founders, me included, early on assumed expectations are obvious. Guys, I promise you they're not. Your team needs to know, what do they own? What does success look like? An example, early on, I told my ops team, make sure the client onboarding experience is smooth. What the heck does that even mean? Smooth compared to what? Smooth to whose definition? And when do we want it to be smooth by? I thought I was giving them freedom, but really I was just giving them ambiguity. When we got serious, we set clear expectations. Onboarding must be completed within 5 business days. Client satisfaction scores need to be 9 out of 10 or higher. No more than 1 handoff per onboarding sequence. Now the team knew exactly what they were shooting for. And here's the bonus. Don't just prevent failure. They fuel autonomy, which your people crave. When people know the goalposts, they don't have to wait for you to approve every move. They start making decisions. They actually push results forward without you. All right, step number 3, clear standards. This is where most companies fall apart. Even if people know what they're aiming for, they need to know how well it needs to be done. If good enough is fuzzy, then no one ever really knows if they're winning or not. And when you don't know if you're winning, you start to play small. Here's a real world example of where this actually happened. My second company is called Aspen, and we launched our flagship product, Go Video. It's our first tech product we ever launched. And we told our tech team we need this to be stable. Again, what the heck does that even mean? We had to tighten things up if we were going to be successful. So we defined it. We needed 95% or higher customer satisfaction at rollout. We needed no critical bugs past launch for at least 30 days. We needed hot fixes done within 72 hours if any major issues surfaced. Now everybody knew, here's the standard. Here's what great looks like. Here's what failure looks like, and we could measure it. This matters because accountability without clarity is just pure punishment for your team. And with clear standards, feedback isn't personal, it's mathematic. You're not judging them, you're judging the outcome against the standard that everyone already agreed on at the outset. It's the number 1 thing that keeps your relationship strong and your performance high. Here's step number 4. Clear consequences. Here's the brutal truth. Without consequences, standards don't matter. Everything else that we've talked about is out the door. If crushing it and slacking get treated as the same, then people stop caring. Not because they're bad people, but because the system tells them that their effort doesn't matter, and they'll leave to a place where it's rewarded. You have to set consequences before emotions get involved. So at Aspen, even before I had defined what clear standards for success meant for Go Video, we still had to set up the consequences if goals weren't hit or if they were exceeded. Were they gonna get fired? Were they gonna get promoted? This is super tough to do in any business because there's so many variables and performance is so difficult to measure. So what I did is sat down with my head of technology, our CTO, and said, all right, you said that success should look like this. Now tell me what happens if we miss. He suggested a bunch of things that I ended up shooting down, things like, well, we just won't miss, or we'll try as hard as we can, or try harder, or if I miss, I guess you'll just have to fire me. All of these were cop-out answers, so I kept digging. I asked him what he would suggest doing if he were in my spot. He said I'd probably bring in a temporary expert if we missed again. I told him that was a great idea. So fast forward to the delivery date, and we ended up missing our success targets. We found another developer for $138 an hour and put him to work for 6 weeks to solve the problem. My CTO wasn't offended. He didn't push back. He was grateful for the solution and bought into it because he was the one who had come up with it in the first place. When everyone knows the rules of the game before the game starts, it makes coaching so much easier. No drama, no defensiveness. And the best people love it because it created true meritocracy. It wasn't about playing favorites. It was about rewarding ownership and results. If you want a high-performing team, you need to create a culture where results actually matters. Clear consequences protect the culture you're building. And here's the best part. When you lock in a clear purpose, clear expectations, clear standards, and clear consequences, you stop having to enforce everything yourself. Peer-to-peer accountability kicks in. Your A players will start protecting the standards without you having to step in. That's how you scale leadership. That's how you create real freedom as a founder. That's how you stop being the bottleneck. Quick closing story. After we rolled this out, I was walking through the halls in our office and overheard my head of sales talking to my head of operations. I overheard only this sentence. Hey man, the team missed on our last week's turnaround time. What's the recovery plan? How can I help? These peer-to-peer accountability conversations became the norm. I didn't have to tell them to do that. They did it because we had a system, and that system protected the mission. When your team starts coaching each other, you know you're building something special because accountability isn't about control. It's about clarity, ownership, and trust. So build the system and the culture will follow. If this helped you, hit the like button, drop a comment. What's the biggest accountability challenge you're currently facing? And hit subscribe because every day I drop a framework that's gonna help you scale better, faster, and smarter and actually enjoy running the company that you started. I'll see you in the next one.